Bob Menendez has been found guilty of all charges. Here we go.
Tom Winter with the verdict.
Yes, Andrea, on count one, conspiracy to commit bribery, the senior senator from New Jersey, Senator Robert Menendez, guilty. That's count one on conspiracy to commit bribery. Senator Robert Menendez, guilty. Wael Hana, a businessman who's been charged alongside the senator, also guilty on count one. Fred Davies, a New Jersey developer who's been also implicated in the conspiracy to commit bribery, is also found guilty. Count two, conspiracy to commit honest services wire fraud. Robert Menendez, the senator, guilty. Wael Hana, co-defendant in this case, also guilty. Fred Davies, also guilty. That's count two. We're on to count three now. This is a count that only the senator is facing: conspiracy to commit extortion under color of an official right. We're about to get that verdict put in. We're just getting there's some complications on the form where it mentions who's released on bond and who's not. So on the first two counts, they're both released on bond. Now count three, conspiracy to commit extortion under color of official right. Robert Menendez, guilty on that count. Count four, conspiracy to commit obstruction of justice. Senator Robert Menendez, guilty on that count. Fred Davies, also charged on that count, also guilty. Count five, bribery actions to benefit Wael Hana in Egypt. So this is more specific to the Egyptian conduct in this case. Senator Robert Menendez, count five, guilty. Count six, bribery actions to benefit Wael Hana in Egypt. Again, this all goes back to the bribery scheme that we've been talking about over the past several months of coverage in this case, and what Joyce Vance was referring to. Count six only pertains to the two New Jersey businessmen, Wael Hana and Fred Davies. Both have been found guilty on that count. Both will be released on bond on that count. The next count will be count seven, which is honest services wire fraud, actions to benefit Wael Hana in Egypt. This count does include the senator. He has now been found guilty on that count. Senator Robert Menendez, guilty of honest services wire fraud. Wael Hana charged on this count as well, and Fred Davies also both found guilty. We're going to move on to count eight, extortion under color of official right, actions to benefit Wael Hana in Egypt. This count only pertains to Senator Robert Menendez. We're just about to get that to us on that count seven. All three defendants, will be released on bond. Here's count eight now. Again, extortion under color of official right and actions benefiting Wael Hana in Egypt. This is a count that only involves Senator Robert Menendez, and he has been found guilty of that as well. We're on count eight of an 18-count indictment, and so far the senator has been found guilty on all counts that pertain to him. We're about to get count nine now, which is honest services wire fraud. That's actions to benefit Jose Uribe and Uribe's associates. This count involves Senator Robert Menendez, and he here too is guilty on that, according to the jury. Wael Hana, who's charged alongside him, has been found guilty on that count. Count 10, extortion under color of official right, actions to benefit Jose Uribe and Uribe's associates. Senator Robert Menendez is the only person charged under count 10. He has been found guilty under count 10.
Well, look, there's 8 more counts to go, but I think we get the idea.
Not looking good so far.
Let me just say, I like my criminals to be indicted on 34 counts, not just 18.
I'm waiting for good news in these lists.
I mean, isn't this a beautiful display of bipartisanship? We have a convicted felon on the Republican ticket and now a convicted felon serving in the Democratic Party.
I would have loved to have been on that jury.
I guess the difference, though, is that there's now, immediately, now that he's been convicted, everybody's telling him to resign. Like Chuck Schumer,
if you're a senator,
Tina Smith.
it shouldn't be, you shouldn't be illegal. That's what I say.
I mean, this guy, the fact that he still was in power after his mistrial in 2015, or it was 2015 charges, 2017 was when the mistrial was determined, or when it came down. He was already before this indicted on corruption charges, and it ended in a mistrial, and he took that as no, I'm going to take this as a challenge to do it again. Because honestly, when you have people who are this corrupt and this cynical about the democratic process, if they get away with it, it doesn't signal to them like, whew, geez, thank God I got off by the skin of my teeth there. I learned my lesson. It signals to a guy like this, oh, I can do it again. emboldens them. And this is exactly what happened. He could have gotten away with all the corruption he did previously and still served in New Jersey because he had so much institutional support within the Democratic Party. But he was just too greedy. He needed those gold bars. It's incredible. But
Tim Pool's economic researcher says if Kamala picks Menendez for VP, we have a good shot at splitting the white-collar criminal vote.
we do. That could make or break things.
I don't know. Trump really has that, I think, class of people on lock. I think that's mainly this submerged, his submerged base.
Right. The VP doesn't matter too much.
Do we know what the rules are in New Jersey for? So Murphy will get to appoint a caretaker if Menendez gets convicted pre-January 25. He has been convicted. I imagine there's going to be calls for him to resign. And if he doesn't, I imagine we're going to see maybe the Senate expel him.
Yeah.
Murphy will appoint somebody. Now, people are asking, will that in any way influence the election in the fall? I think Andy Kim is the nominee, right? Andy Kim's the nominee.
But
so,
Menendez is running as an independent. That's what's so incredible about this. I
well,
mean, no,
he's not going to win now.
he's not going to win now, I would hope, but it just goes to speak to the psychology of this guy.
But
Why
my
is
point
he
is, if
still running?
well, he stayed in because what's his option?
I guess why is Trump running?
Yeah, he's a criminal. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a
criminal.
office.
Right. God, all right. I'm sorry. I had to get back into the criminal, my criminal skull shape. Let me just.
You imagine he's sitting there with his wife going like, look, I've taken bribes, you've taken bribes, but it would be wrong for me to run for office because that's
For the good of the party.
Unethical. It's unethical.
I'm sorry.
But my point is that I don't think, regardless of who Murphy appoints to the seat, I think it's Andy Kim is going to. There's no opportunity for an incumbent, a caretaker seat to run. Frankly, there's not going to be a special election. There's going to be a caretaker seat, and
if we're hearing these dire things about Mikey Sherrill, who represents where I used to live, New Jersey 11, my old district. She was one of the, I think, first 10 Democrats to come out to tell Biden to step aside. So if they're concerned about some of these seats with more Trump enthusiasm, it would make sense for Phil Murphy to put Kim in as the caretaker for Senate to ensure that he's already in that Senate role, which helps him in his election in the fall. I can't see a Republican taking that.
No, it's not
that
going to be a
seat.
Republican.
But the point is, there's still an independent in the race who has a high name recognition, and Menendez. The point is just that just make Kim the caretaker so that you can get him over the hump and have people already be referring to him as Senator Andy
it's
Kim.
not inconceivable that Menendez wouldn't be in jail by November.
Well,
I mean,
tell that to Eugene Debs. You can still vote for him, I guess.
I guess that's true.
I would also just like to point out Bob Menendez is singular among Democrats in maintaining the blockade and oppressive policies towards Cuba.
Yep.
And so good effing riddance.
Absolutely.
Juniper J asks, will Menendez's conviction stop the crazy talk about the Biden Justice Department being weaponized? No.
Of course not.
Not even remotely close.
Yeah, go read Pearlstein's books.
I mean, did it stop when they appointed a special counsel to investigate his own son?
No.
No. They're running on that at the RNC. He's the one who wants to jail his political opponents, they say, as opposed to, did I dream or did I go on a multi-year ayahuasca venture where I just imagined Trump chanting "lock her up"? I mean, we should play that when Trump said, I never said that. I never said lock her up. Okay.
You gotta take the temperature down.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.